Hey, welcome back to Hobbies with Jose, and today we've got part one of our customization of Studio Series, Earthrise Optimus Prime. I'm excited, let's go! Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's great to have you back. And if you couldn't tell, I am very excited to get started with our new customization. But as we always do, let's talk a little bit about how we're going to be approaching this project. Now, as I mentioned in my review, I do think the figure is near perfect. It does a lot to live up to the Mini Masterpiece name. And one of the things I've done in all of my previous customizations is to take out all of the kibble to give it a cleaner bot mode look. Prime, as I mentioned, doesn't have a lot of kibble except for this. And even this is very easily removed. So this actually will be the first time that I customize a transformer and keep the transformation intact, so that should be fun. Now, having said that, this isn't just going to be a repaint. I am planning on doing some modifications. Namely, what I mentioned are the peg holes on the arms and smokestacks that I wasn't too happy about, that kind of interfere with the look of Optimus Prime. So I'm actually going to cut out the parts that stick out and fill in the holes with some putty, send them out. This is going to be a little bit trickier because I'm going to try to fill in the missing part of the smokestack with some putty. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but we're going to give it a shot. And while I'm at it, I'm going to drill in the little holes for the top of the smokestacks. That shouldn't be too difficult. I've done that before with the model kit from Flame Toys, so we'll get that done. I'm also going to try and fill in the little seam lines here on the side just to make the helmet look like one complete piece. I don't think that'll be too difficult as well. And that's really it for modifications. Like I said, Prime doesn't have a lot that needs to be changed. Unfortunately, this hook on his back, there's not much I can do there since I'm going to keep that for the transformation. So that's going to stay in place. All right, but now that we have our game plan, let's go ahead and start the disassembly process. Once again, we have our tools of the trade here. A couple of pliers here, regular pliers, needle nose pliers, a hammer, nice thick block of wood, our towel to help protect the figure, and lastly, a punch pin, which honestly mine has seen better days, but it's still kicking, so we'll see how it goes. And I do normally like to start off with the easy ball joints, usually with the head. It's official now. And of course, I always forget to mention a tool. Gonna need a screwdriver too. Always want to keep these in a safe place. I think these gas tanks, we can just pop them off. Yep, there we go. And that revealed even more screws for us. I'm curious if this will open up now. Oh yeah, it certainly does. Yep, this comes off as well. Ah, I see another screw. Okay, I'm gonna start working on these pins. Start taking the chest apart. I am glad I was able to get the clear blue piece off of here, because if I would have applied the paint thinner on the whole thing, it would have fogged up the piece here. probably broken it too. Although I did end up scratching it a bit on the side here. I should be able to buff that out. The side window pieces came right off as well, but unfortunately they're made entirely out of clear blue plastic, so I'm gonna have to be careful with these. And looks like we've got a few more clear blue plastic pieces for the headlights. And I can see the hook back here, so I'm gonna try my best to remove them without damaging them too much. Alright, I did manage to get them off, but unfortunately they did snap at the end, where I do think they're glued to the plastic there, but at least I got the majority of them off. I'm hoping once I place them back on and I'm done painting the whole thing, it won't be as noticeable, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's a long one. Okay, so this piece I took off camera because I had to use a bit of extra force here, and the reason that is because it has two hidden pins inside. Thankfully I didn't damage the front piece, though it's still intact, but I may just have to glue it in place when I reassemble it. But now that that piece came off, I should be able to take off the bottom piece. There we go. And I should take off this pin here as well. I guess that's going to be it for this piece. I can't take it apart much further. It only has some white pins on the back, so I'm just going to leave them be. Okay, so that pin's not going to come off, and these white pins aren't going to come off either, so I think that's it for this part. Alright, well, I was able to take this white pin off. I may have to revisit the others. And yet more screws. Oh, I see. Looks like that screw was holding in this entire front plate here. And now we can take off the other two pieces. There we go. This last pin is going to be near impossible to take off. This was a leftover transformation from Siege Optimus, which wasn't used for Earthrise, so I'm going to leave this whole piece intact. So we now have our Optimus Prime as disassembled as we're going to get him. Next step, we're going to strip the paint with the same mixture we've used before. And again, that's 9 parts, 91% isopropyl alcohol, and 1 part lacquer thinner. We're going to let them sit here for about an hour, and then we'll come back and check in on them. And fast forward an hour, we've gotten our pieces off of our paint thinner. I'm going to go ahead and brush off the remaining paint just using an old paintbrush, and I still have the paint thinner solution that we can use here as well. By the way though, take a look at Prime's head, and you can see why they had to paint the back side of it, which again kind of raises more questions than it answers. I don't know why they couldn't use the same blue plastic for the back side. And you can see the eyes are red too, but that's what they did. Interesting. Here's one of the side window pieces, and you can definitely see how it's all clear blue plastic. It will probably continue to get fogged up as it dries up, so I may just paint over the windows. We'll see what happens. Now that we've gotten all of the paint brushed off of our pieces, we're going to clean them off a bit using some multi-surface cleaner. And now here we are 24 hours later. Our pieces are pretty much dry at this point. But that's where I'm going to end things for today. When we come back next week, I'll start the modification process and get our pieces primed up and ready for some color. So I hope you can all join me for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Take care.